this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me again today. And today we're going to make this beautiful little card here with the deers from the Dashing Deer bundle. My tree is actually from Foxy Friends, and this beautiful paper behind here is from the Twinkle Twinkle pack, but it just makes a lovely night sky for cards like this. So I'm going to show you how I put my card together. So the first thing we need is a card blank, usual size of card blank. Mine in centimetres is 21 by 14.8, which is half a sheet of A4, so you can get 2 out of an A4 sheet. Score it at 10.5. If you're working in inches, it's 8.25 scored at 4 1/8 and 6 inches down there. Then my panels, this one is a centimetre smaller, so there's a half a centimetre or a quarter of an inch all the way round. And then my next piece of paper, my panel, is going to be half a centimetre smaller, so that you get a smaller border around there. I'm going to start off by doing all the stamping that we need though. I'm going to stamp the deers and the tree and the message. So first of all, piece of white Whisper White card. I'm going to take my soft suede stamp pad. This is one of the old style ones. This is one I've had for a while. So I'm not sure. It's not a colour I use a huge amount, so I think it's still probably quite inky, this stamp pad. So I'm just going to stamp my first reindeer there. That's a nice clean image. Good, I like that. And then I'm going to stamp my other one, making sure that my stamp is well covered, and stamp him there. And then I can put my soft suede away now. That's all the soft suede I need. I'm going to come in with my shaded spruce and stamp the tree. I was delighted when I realised that I had a tree in the Foxy Friends, because I don't have any of the sets with trees in, so I was so pleased when I found that I could use one of the trees. This is the second or third time I've used it this year for a Christmas tree. This stamp pad is quite inky, so I just need to be a bit careful with that. Don't want it to be too inky and fill in the space. Oh, that's okay, and that will dry. That's quite dark at the minute, but that will dry a bit lighter than that. So that's my tree, and then the last thing I need to do is print my message. And my message, if you have a look, just says Christmas wishes. Now in the stamp set it actually says happiest Christmas wishes, but I've actually cut off the happiest word. And I've just got Christmas wishes. I don't have any issues with cutting my stamp pads apart, because actually if you wanted it you can just slot it back in there and you've got the whole message again, so it just makes it a bit more adaptable. So if you want to do that with your stamps, just be very, very careful you don't cut into the actual stamping area, but you can do that. I'm going to come in with Night of Navy and stamp my message. And actually I'm going to turn my this is quite an inky pad. This might not stamp properly the first time. I might give it another go. Let's see. Oh, that's all right. Thought it was going to be a bit too inky, but it's fine. There we go. Now I need to bring in my die cutter, because these two deer are die cut. I'm just going to trim them off roughly and bring in my very, very old Sizzix machine, my die cutter, and find the dies that I need from my set. So that one and that one. I'm over there. And take off that pad and put this here. And I'm just going to hold them in place with a little bit of washi tape so they don't move. You can use your magnetic plate to do this, but actually while I'm on camera I find it easier to use a little bit of washi tape to just hold the dies in place. I do that all the time actually. The washi tape is great because it's not ever so tacky, so it won't spoil the card, and it just is enough to hold the dies in place for you. And you only need a tiny bit, so it works out quite cheaply as well. There we go. So that's all the die cutting we're going to do, just those two little deer. Pushing through my very squeaky tonight Big Shot. And they should, yeah, I only needed one pass through there to make those come out really well. Okay, so now I can cut out my tree. Now the tree, there isn't a die cut to cut it with, so what I did was cut it out roughly and then just trimmed it. So I'm going to trim it with a little white border, trim down there and just come in here and then get my scissors round and so on. Just keep doing that. I know if you're making hundreds of these cards it might be a bit tedious doing this, but actually it's not difficult because it's a fairly straightforward shape. It's not like cutting something that's really curvy and is really difficult to get right. There we go. And there we go. So I hope you've been enjoying watching all my Christmas projects I've made, and especially with this die set. I've the deers, I've made so many cards this year. I can't believe I've really got my money worth out of that bundle. I've made and I've still got loads of ideas. There's so many elements in it, the little flowers and the swirls, so I'm still thinking about what I could do. So that's my tree, and then lastly I'm going to bring in my trimmer and just trim my message down. So I'm just going to trim it, not with the scoring blade, but with the, there we go, and then just need to do it one more time, and then I'm going to put banner ends in it. So about there, I think. There we go. So get rid of my trimmer again, and then we can start putting the card together. So I'm just going to trim off there, put a little cut in the middle, and then trim the corners. So cut a little bit off there, so I've got the same distance, a little bit there, and then cut in. All done by hand and eye, nothing with any measurement or anything, but of course if you're not quite so confident you could measure it. There we go. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to go back to our card. So I've talked about the paper. I've also got a piece of Whisper White that I've embossed with the Softly Falling embossing folder, and what I've done is I've actually drawn a little curve on the back here, which is going to fit, going to make my so I just drew it by hand. I would, if you're not very confident, you could try it with a piece of scrap paper first until you've got the kind of curve that you like, but it's not difficult to do. There we go, and then that's going to go, so and stick on there. Now it's too big at the moment, but that's fine. I can actually trim a little bit off. Actually I'm going to bring my trimmer in and just trim a little bit. It's a bit thick at the moment, too deep for the card, so I'm just going to trim it down. There we go. Interesting cutting embossed pieces because you get a funny edge. There we go, that's a bit better. So I'm going to stick that. So first of all I'm going to stick on my panel of patterned paper. I'm going to stick this on here first. I need to remember which order I did this. So I'm going to bring a little bit of Tombow in. Actually I'm going to use the other end if it will work. I haven't used this end recently, so will it come out? Oh no, it doesn't want to come out of that end, so we'll use the other end. I think this is getting quite empty, this Tombow. I need to invest in a new one. Should have put that on my order today. It's the 24-hour sale today as I'm doing this, and I've just done an order. Didn't order Tombow glue. Go on my next order. There we go. And that is going to go on my panel. Like so. And then I'm going to trim off my panel. Trim off the edges so I've got a nice clean panel. Nice crisp edges. Then this is going to stick on here. So again, come in with my Tombow. Like so. Right there, you can't really see it because it spreads so thin, but it is there, I promise you. There. Now getting, as I'm recording this, we're at the end of October. So it really is getting so that we really do start needing to think about Christmas soon. I'll be asking my kids soon what's on their Christmas list. My kids are all grown up, for those of you who don't know. I've got a 25-year-old, a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old. A girl, boy, girl. And the girls are by comparison so much easier than the boy. My boy causes me so much stress and angst. Just lost his job, so looking for another job at the moment. So, and he did move out of home for a little while, but he's back now, and all the joy that that entails. I love having him around, but he's not easy to live with. He's very, very messy and doesn't appreciate the work that goes into running a house. I don't know whether that's just him or being a boy, or I don't know. He has ADHD, so maybe that's part of it. There we go. So there's my panel, and then all we've got to do is mount all our elements on our card. So we're going to mount our tree over here on a few dimensionals. You might notice I'm hurrying a bit because I record on my camera, which will only record 16 minutes of video, so I have to be quite quick, which is a really good incentive for me keeping my videos short, because I'm very impatient when I'm watching videos and I don't like them when they go on and on and on. So I use it as a very good incentive, but sometimes I just need an extra couple of minutes. So I'm going to put my tree there on dimensionals. I'm going to stick my big deer down direct to the card, and again with a little bit of Tombow. Like so, and then the little deer is going to be mounted up there on dimensionals, and I've got some dimensionals here that the outside that I've cut up. I'm using little dimensionals today because I have actually used up nearly all my big ones now. I was saying, oh, that's enough actually, they don't need any more. That I had loads of big ones, but I've actually used them up now, and I will only order little ones in future, I think. Like that, maybe a bit lower. There we go. And then the last bit we need to do is just mount our banner. So again, I'm going to use some of these border pieces for around the sides of the dimensionals. Don't waste anything. Save your pennies to buy new stamp sets or dies or whatever. Don't waste your money buying dimensionals when you've got bits that you can use up, is my advice. I want to buy all the lovely new shiny things. I don't really want to spend my money on boring things like dimensionals. So there we go. And there we are. That's our card finished. I will, of course, I'm not going to do it on the video, but I will mount a white panel inside my card, because otherwise it's too difficult to write on. And actually I might stamp the little deer down there so that it just carries over inside the card. But for me, that's it today. I hope you've enjoyed watching my tutorial how to make this lovely card. So many lovely elements here. The paper at the background and the softly falling, really pretty. But that's it from me, and I shall see you again soon. All the details are on my blog, so don't forget to pop over there, the colours and the card stock sizes, the panel sizes, and all the links to the products should you wish to buy any. But I'll see you soon. I'll be back again. I've still got lots of Christmas projects to show you, so I will be back. And that's it for me today. Goodbye and have a nice day. Bye.